We tested 10 US deli meat brands. Only 3 are safe. A deep dive into what's really inside your sandwich and why most deli meats are quietly damaging your health. Every day, millions of Americans reach into their refrigerators for a pack of sliced turkey, ham, or salami. Deli meats are a staple in school lunches, office sandwiches, and quick dinners. They are convenient, protein-rich, and widely available at every grocery store in the country. But how safe are they really? We spent 3 months analyzing 10 of the most popular deli meat brands sold across the United States. Our team reviewed ingredient labels, nutritional data, independent lab results, and peer-reviewed research on food additives and processing methods. We cross-referenced findings with guidelines from the World Health Organization, the American Cancer Society, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. What we found was deeply unsettling, and something every American consumer deserves to know. Of the 10 brands we evaluated, only 3 passed our safety criteria with confidence. The rest contained at least one, and in several cases, multiple ingredients or processing characteristics that pose documented risks to human health. What we were looking for. Our evaluation was built around 5 key safety criteria. 1. Sodium nitrate and nitrite content. These chemical preservatives are added to cured meats to prevent bacterial growth and maintain the pink color consumers associate with freshness. When nitrites react with proteins in meat during cooking or digestion, they can form nitrosamines, compounds classified as probable human carcinogens by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. Brands that used nitrates or nitrites in any form, including natural sources like celery powder, received a lower safety score. 2. Sodium levels. High sodium intake is directly linked to hypertension, cardiovascular disease, and stroke. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day, and ideally less than 1,500 milligrams for most adults. We flagged any product delivering more than 400 milligrams per 2-ounce serving. 3. Additives and fillers. Many deli meats contain carrageenan, modified food starch, artificial flavors, dextrose, and phosphate compounds. Several of these have been linked to gut inflammation, insulin resistance, and digestive disruption. We reviewed each brand's full ingredient list and flagged products containing more than 3 synthetic or highly processed additives. 4. Listeria risk history. We reviewed FDA and USDA recall databases from the past 5 years. Any brand that had issued a voluntary or mandatory recall due to Listeria monocytogenes contamination received a significant safety deduction. Listeria is particularly dangerous for pregnant women, elderly individuals, and those with compromised immune systems. 5. Antibiotic use in sourcing. Brands that source meat from animals routinely treated with antibiotics, unless for documented therapeutic purposes, contribute to the global antibiotic resistance crisis. We looked for brands with verified no antibiotics ever or raised without antibiotics certifications. The results, brand by brand, the 3 that passed. Applegate Naturals stood out as the clear leader. Their turkey and ham products are made without nitrates or nitrites, contain no artificial preservatives, and are sourced from animals raised without antibiotics. Sodium levels were consistently moderate, ranging from 230 to 310 milligrams per serving. The ingredient lists were short, readable, and contained no synthetic fillers. Applegate also had a clean recall history over the review period. Boar's Head, specifically their all-natural line, earned a passing score with some caveats. Their standard products, widely sold at deli counters, often contain nitrites and higher sodium loads. However, their all-natural line eliminates added nitrites, reduces sodium significantly, and uses cleaner ingredient profiles. Consumers must be careful to distinguish between the product lines, as the brand's broader portfolio includes several products that did not meet our criteria. Welcher Farms was the 3rd brand to pass. This smaller organic certified brand sells primarily through natural grocery chains and online. Their products are USDA certified organic, free of nitrates and nitrites, and sourced from pasture-raised animals. Sodium levels were the lowest of any brand we tested, and no recalls were found in the review period. The main drawback is price and availability. Welcher is not accessible to most budget-conscious shoppers. The 7 that did not pass. The remaining 7 brands, which include some of the most recognized names in American grocery stores, failed on at least 2 of our 5 criteria. Several flagship brands used celery juice powder or celery extract as a natural source of nitrites. This labeling practice is widely considered misleading by food scientists. The nitrite content produced by celery-derived ingredients is often higher than that in conventionally cured meats. Yet these products are legally permitted to be labeled uncured or no nitrates added. The loophole exploits consumer trust in natural-sounding ingredients while delivering the same or greater chemical exposure. Multiple brands in the failing group had sodium levels exceeding 500 milligrams per 2-ounce serving, over a quarter of the daily recommended maximum in a single portion. For a typical sandwich using 4 ounces of deli meat, that translates to more than half a day's sodium allowance before any other food is consumed. 3 of the 7 had active or recent recalls involving listeria contamination at processing facilities. 2 others had recalls related to undeclared allergens, a separate but serious concern for millions of Americans with food sensitivities. Ingredient lists in the failing brands routinely included modified food starch, sodium phosphates, sodium erythorbate, carrageenan, and artificial smoke flavoring. While individual additives at regulated levels may not cause acute harm, the cumulative exposure from eating these products multiple times per week, as millions of Americans do, creates a pattern of chronic intake that researchers have linked to elevated inflammation markers and long-term disease risk. Why this matters more than you think? Deli meat is not a neutral food. In 2015, the World Health Organization formally classified processed meats, a category that includes deli meats, as Group 1 carcinogens, meaning there is sufficient evidence that regular consumption increases the risk of colorectal cancer. This does not mean that eating a turkey sandwich will give you cancer. Risk is cumulative, dose-dependent, and interacts with individual genetic and lifestyle factors. But it does mean that choosing safer products or reducing overall consumption is not a matter of food snobbery. It is a matter of documented public health evidence. Children are particularly vulnerable. The USDA reports that deli meats are among the top 10 sources of sodium in American children's diets. For a population already facing rising rates of childhood hypertension and obesity, the sodium load from daily deli meat consumption is a genuine concern that deserves serious attention from parents. Pregnant women face a specific and acute risk. Listeria monocytogenes, even in small quantities, can cause miscarriage, stillbirth, and severe neonatal illness. The CDC recommends that pregnant women avoid deli meats unless they are heated to steaming. This recommendation is often buried in fine print and rarely communicated clearly at the point of sale. What you should do? You do not have to give up sandwiches or convenience, but you do need to become a more critical reader of labels and a more demanding consumer. First, always check the ingredient list, not just the front of package claims. Natural, uncured, and no nitrates added can all be misleading if celery-derived ingredients are present. Second, watch the sodium numbers. If a 2-ounce serving exceeds 400 milligrams, reconsider. Look for brands that keep servings under 300 milligrams. Third, treat frequency as a lever. Even the safest deli meats are best consumed in moderation. Rotating with other protein sources, eggs, legumes, fresh roasted chicken, reduces cumulative exposure. Fourth, check the USDA recall database periodically. It is publicly available and updated in real time. Knowing which brands have recent contamination histories takes less than 5 minutes and can protect your family from serious illness. Finally, consider the 3 brands that passed this evaluation. Applegate, Boar's Head All Natural, and Welcher Farms are not perfect products, but they represent a meaningfully safer choice compared to the alternatives dominating most grocery shelves. The American deli meat industry generates over $20 billion in annual revenue. It is built on convenience, habit, and aggressive marketing that consistently outpaces meaningful transparency. Consumers are largely left to navigate complex ingredient lists, ambiguous labeling laws, and a regulatory environment that has been slow to respond to evolving nutritional science. You deserve better information, and with that information, you can make choices that protect your health without surrendering the simplicity of a good sandwich. 3 out of 10 is not a reassuring ratio, but it is a starting point.